Hi, my name is Giordana, and I live in Baltimore, Maryland. When we installed our sub pod in July, we were unsure what the winter was going to bring. So this winter, which is our second winter with the sub pod, we've left the worms outdoors with our cold frame, and they are doing just great. Despite it being a pretty severe winter this year, we've had extreme cold temperatures. Not today though, today is perfect. Our recommendation for winter composting with the sub pod relies heavily on the cold frame. This is a cold frame that we got relatively inexpensively online. Simply by installing this prior to the first freeze, the temperature inside is maintained at a level that will support the life of the worms. We found one that fits perfectly into our sub pod raised bed. And then once I situate it over the sub pod, I use stakes so that it doesn't get blown away by the wind. In addition, we do some insulation with straw that we just get at our local garden supply store and leaves from our garden. I'm checking on the worms for the first time since we had a double snowstorm late last week, and it's been bitterly cold, so I'm hoping that they're doing all right in there. As you can see, there's a lot of condensation on our cold frame here, which means it's significantly warmer inside the cold frame than it is outside. It actually works really great with the sub pod because you can access each section of the sub pod through one of the windows in the cold frame. I have recycled a twisty tie just to hold the sub pod open while I take care of feeding the worms. The other thing that I've done this winter is I've tried to create some airflow within the sub pod with egg cartons. I just simply put this on top of the composted material in the sub pod and below the worm blankets, and it does help with airflow, and that's actually important in terms of maintaining warmth. In addition, it's also compostable material that the worms can consume. It has been brutally cold over the last month here, and the worms are doing great in here, well insulated with the cold frame, the double worm blanket that we've been using on each side, and the egg cartons, which the worms seem to enjoy spending time on them, and they will eventually break down. A couple of additional things you can do to help enhance the cold hardiness of your worms is to make sure that you're including coffee grounds in your food scraps when you're feeding the sub pod. Coffee grounds contain nitrogen and can help maintain both the pH balance and the temperature of your sub pod. And also I've read about using biochar to help with the cold hardiness and the heat hardiness of your worms. We do introduce about a tablespoonful of biochar, maybe every other feeding or once a month. So take a look at this worm activity and just the number of worms that this sub pod is sustaining. And I do have a soil thermometer in here. The soil temperature is below 40 degrees. They're still doing okay though. During the winter, when we feel like we can't do as much composting of our food waste, just because the worms do slow down when the soil temperature gets below about 40 degrees, what we do is we simply freeze our food scraps. So we use reusable silicone gallon-size bags, and we just put our food scraps into the bags and keep them in the freezer until we're ready to feed the worms again. Depending how the season goes, we're probably 4 to 6 weeks out from the end of winter, and the worms are doing great. I'm confident that they're going to continue doing great. And as the temperatures start to rise, we will start feeding the sub pod with our food scraps more regularly. We've gotten through our second winter now, and it's going just great.